we finish with this process, it will be clear what are the steps and what are the requirements and the expected outcomes at every level.
She noted that her ministry is implementing several interventions aimed at promoting youth mainstreaming, such as building capacity of youth through conducting mentorship.
Competency-based, clearly. Some of you will move faster than others for a number of reasons, but those reasons will be clearly articulated in that journey of progression. And this is the point, that it must be clear, it must be predictable, and it must be administrative.
The plan outlines the ministry commitment to youth empowerment, and the plan lays a framework for the ministry's engagement in efforts of enhancing the well-being of the youth.
The collaboration of various ministries led by the frontline ministry, the Ministry of Public Service, Youth Affairs and Gender.
He added that the ministry is working with the United Nations, diplomats and stakeholders from all over the world to improve the situation of young people in Kenya. Youth Mainstreaming Committee Chairman Christopher Chika said the ministry will partner with government ministries, departments and agencies, diplomatic missions, UN and international organizations, universities and other learning institutions to implement training, mentorship, leadership program, internship and exchange programs. Caroline Jinga, K24, Inside Business.
Moving on, the Diani Reef Beach Resort is set to expand its best by an additional 114 new rooms, which will be contained in an all-new wing of 40-acre property and will be unveiled just in time for the peak holiday season in December this year. The addition of 114 rooms will bring the total room count of Diani Reef to 257 rooms, making it the single largest five-star hotel by room numbers in the South Coast. Jimmy Mbogo tells us more.
According to Diani Reef Managing Director Bobby Kimani, the investment is strategic to accommodate the high numbers expected from both international and domestic tourists, who are set to increase this year owing to good security at the coast as well as political stability.
To see how well tourism would fare before we can continue to expand.
Mr. Kimani further says that the hotel has invested heavily during the low season in June and July in renovating its existing 143 rooms in preparation for the high season. The expansion will also help boost the conferencing business at the South Coast, as hotels will be able to accommodate more delegates.
It further endorses the fact that we do have a lot of confidence and faith in Diani Beach and tourism as a whole.
Diani Reef has also intensified its partnership with airlines and the SGR to provide holiday packages at affordable rates to domestic tourists. In July, the hotel partnered with Silverstone Air to allow domestic travelers to save up to 30% on normal flight fares and accommodation rates. Jimmy Bogo, K24, Inside Business.
On to county matters, where a major financial crisis is looming in various counties led by West Pokot over the delay by the Treasury to release funds for counties due to the stalemate between the Senate and the National Assembly. Area Governor Professor John Lanyangapuo says the delay of funds has crippled basic service delivery and running of activities in the county. Caroline Jenga tells us more.
Failure by the National Assembly and Senate to agree on the amount of revenue to be allocated to counties has grinded to a halt operations in the counties. Workers in various counties are setting down their tools over delayed July salaries caused by the impasse on the Division of Revenue Bill 2019. Activities in West Pokot County have also come to a halt due to the stalemate between the Senate and National Assembly over the Revenue Bill. Area Governor Professor John Lanyangapuo says the delay of funds has crippled basic services and running of activities in the county. He says county employees have not received their salaries from July and August, which has destabilized the affairs of the county.
Wamefanya kazi na wajalibwa. Na kama governor sina pesa ya kulipa watu mpaka nipate hiyo ya Nairobi.
The delay has mostly affected operations in health sector, release of education bursaries, water, disaster management and public works, county public service and procurement being the most affected.
Wana dalili ya kelele kila kona. Hii itaweza kubadilika kwa movement ngine ya ajabu miezi zijazo. ati mwezi wa 8 ipite bila mshahara mpaka mwezi wa 9. Maana serikali itakuwa serikali gani?
Lonyangapuo called on the government to immediately release the funds, accusing senators and members of parliament of using their differences to kill devolution.
Ningeomba kwamba pesa ambazo zilikuwa zimetengwa kisheria na katiba itutumiwe. Na kama kuna kelele ambayo iko hiyo iendelee, lakini watu walipwe mshahara yao.
Caroline Jega, K24 Inside Business.
More Kenyans have joined a $100 billion compensation suit filed at the U.S. federal court by top American law firms against airplane manufacturer Boeing following the Ethiopian airline crash in March. Rebecca Lowe, Chartered and Global Aviation Law Groups, which represents the majority of the victims, became the latest group to file a suit against both Boeing and Ethiopian Airline in a growing number of lawsuits filed against Boeing in the aftermath of the two fatal crashes involving the same model of plane. Jimmy Bogo had an opportunity to speak to the lawyers and has this following interview for us.
Indeed, thank you very much, Sarah, and a very good afternoon to you too. Yes, as I rightfully said, we will be looking into some of the victims. Our lawyers will be speaking to them just to be able to understand what are some of their prayers, what are they seeking from the court, and just how would this have been prevented. Remember, this is an accident that took the lives of about over 30 Kenyans and over 150 passengers who perished in the Ethiopian airline crash. And just to speak to us about this, I'm joined by two lawyers from two different firms that will be representing over 60 victims from different parts of the country. Gentlemen, thank you so much for speaking to us. Now, one of the things that we would like to understand is what are some of the prayers that you will be seeking from the courts?
Let me begin by expressing my deepest sympathies for your losses. It's a terrible tragedy for Ethiopia, Kenya, and many different countries. Thank you for inviting me to the show. My name is Manuel von Riebeck. I am a lawyer from Chicago, Illinois, a representative of Riebeck Law Chartered. The main thing for our clients is to find exactly what happened, exactly what went wrong with these planes. As you may know, there's defects with the MCAS system and the sensors that feed the information to the plane. So we would like for those problems to be corrected so that these accidents don't happen again. And that is the main goal of our clients.
All right, but then again, one would ask, why would you have to file these cases in Chicago, Illinois, and not a place like Kenya? Because you're representing Kenyan victims, and also why not a place like Ethiopia? Because this is the airline that operates, this is the national carrier for Ethiopia.
That's a good question. We could file the suit in Ethiopia or Kenya. However, when you deal with changes, modifications to the aircraft, those could be ordered by a judge in Chicago, and he'll be able to enforce those orders more so than a Kenyan or an Ethiopian court that has no jurisdiction over the Boeing company. The second issue is the issue of certification. The Federal Aviation Administration of the United States will affect and will decide the certification that applies and affects all the aircraft around the world of the same model. Okay, so as far as enforcement, modifications to the aircraft, or certifications with the FAA, it is best to have the suits in Chicago, Illinois, which is where Boeing resides, and it is where our headquarters are. So that gives us an edge.
And now, initially, Boeing had offered about 100 million USD in terms of compensation. But now, from your lawsuit, what you are seeking is $1 billion.
That's right.
To go to the victims. Why this discrepancy? Why ask for such a huge amount?
So, there is two separate issues here. The 100 million, okay, have been divided into two halves, 50 million that will be paid directly to the families, and 50 million that will be paid to charitable organizations or NGOs of the places where the people, of the places affected by the crash. Okay, so these 100 million are basically a gift from the Boeing company. The $1 billion that we are seeking for our clients is as punishment to the Boeing company for the outrageous conduct that they had, that speaking to our local council, they're going to seek criminal charges against them. So it's really a huge fine, so they change the way they operate. And most of that money should be to compensate our clients for their damages.
So by the end of this legal process, what do you intend to achieve for your victims?
First, to seek to find the truth. Okay, so once we find what went wrong, to correct the problems. And number two, that they are properly compensated so that they can live the way that they would have if the passenger hadn't been killed.
Eddie, thank you so much, Mr. Rebek, and maybe we can also have your partner. And as we had earlier said, this is a case that is enjoyed, that is two different law firms that have come together to represent over 60 clients. Mr. Marvin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, one would ask and one would wonder, the outcome of Lion Air case, this is likely to have an impact on how the Ethiopian airline case is determined. How are you trying to ensure that the two cases, although different, that they are treated separately and they are treated independently from each other?
In the Lion Air case, our case is settled, right? That would greatly affect our cases in the Ethiopian Airlines case, because that would set the floor on how much Boeing is willing to offer, right? And also that would also set a precedent that Boeing is offering these amounts, and that would greatly influence and affect the outcome of the Ethiopian Airlines case. Those two crashes, as you may know, involve the same Boeing 737 MAX 8 planes, right? And these cases are sort of like intertwined, but right now in court they are separately being litigated. So if, to answer your question, for example, if right now we have a mediation with in the Lion Air case with Boeing. So if it goes well, then as I've said, this will greatly affect the Ethiopian Airlines case, because it will set a minimum amount for our Ethiopian Airlines clients, and also a precedent that Boeing is willing to settle these cases in good faith.
All right, there's also the issue of you currently representing just over 50 clients. However, this accident saw that the number of those who perished was about 157 people. How do you intend on making sure that the other victims as well get justice?
As Manuel mentioned earlier, we are seeking to make sure that the planes that were the Boeing 737 MAX 8 planes are certified properly, that they are safe to fly, so that basically will affect future flights, right? And also, insofar as the victims are concerned, in this case, that we do not represent any claims or cases that we settle would also affect them in the future, because they will know that Boeing settled their cases for this particular amount that will affect future cases that will be being filed. So not only that, as Manuel also mentioned, we have the Boeing financial assistance money, which is 50 million out of 100 million has already been allotted to a fund administrator, and that fund administrator is giving out the proportionate amount to all the families who are entitled to that fund. And we, as the Global Aviation Law Group and as Rebek Law, are helping other families who are not even our clients to get that money from the Boeing fund administrator.
All right, and finally, as we wind up, what would be your one assurance to all the clients in terms of them getting justice, in terms of you doing your part, and how likely and how winnable is this situation for them?
Remember that the victims, the passengers in this case, were innocent, okay? And then we know that Boeing is at fault. So we can basically tell our clients that they will win this case. Okay, it's only a question, it's not a question of winning, but it's a question of how much will they be compensated adequately for the pain and suffering that they suffered in this tragic plane crash.
Indeed, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us. So as you have had it right there, this is a case that is currently ongoing. There are other cases that have been filed. There are other victims that will be seeking justice from the court system, just to ensure that they become the last of those who have to pay for a mistake that has been made either by the airline or the airline manufacturer. But for now, back to you.
Thank you very much, Jimmy Bogo, for that particular interview and update on that particular matter. Now, as we had earlier said, that today's discussion will focus on entrepreneurship and innovation. Now, Enactus Kenya, an organization that promotes entrepreneurship among youth, targets to empower 5,000 students in Kenya to win business leadership skills. Country Director James Shikwati says most young people in Kenya lack skills for employment and entrepreneurship. The organization affiliated to Enactus International has been running international competition targeting universities and undergraduate students since 2003 in an effort to hone their skills. We are currently joined with two students. This is Brian Muyehera and Elizabeth Atieno. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. You have qualified for World Enactus Kenya. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
What projects did you partake? Let's start with you, Brian.
Actually, so far we have done 4 projects since 2017 when we started Enactus that was introduced by our faculty advisor, Merin Chizanga. The first project was Save Food, Save Life. The second project was Trash is Treasure. The third project that won last year's Kenya National Expo, Enactus Expo, was Panda Kenya. And finally, we are on another project that has won again, and is project Higher Tech. Higher Tech is just an abbreviation of Hyacinth Technology.
All right. Can you probably, Elizabeth, enlighten us a bit about this Hyacinth Technology project that you have embarked on?
Yeah, Hyacinth Technology, Higher Tech project. It's a project that is using simple technology to make use of the water hyacinth in making fuel briquettes and biogas. Yeah, we mainly focused on training the people with disabilities on how to make these briquettes, the fuel briquettes, following the current ban of charcoal by the government. So we came up with that idea of helping these people be able to create employment for themselves. You remember, according to research, over 1 billion people are living with disabilities, and these people are unemployed. So we came up with an idea. We improved the phase. It is a phase 3 of the Panda Kenya project.
Yeah. All right. And probably, Brian, if you can pick from what Elizabeth has said in terms of at what point did you realize, you know what, I want my project to be Hyacinth project, and who gave you, like, in terms of even mentorship, how were you mentored to begin with?
Okay, ideally Jaramogi University comes from Bondo. We are just next to Lake Victoria, and you know, even the government is trying to fight water hyacinth weed. So we found that to be a challenge to the society. So as a student, we try to invest our time research and how can we convert this water hyacinth to be of benefit to the society. Actually, fishermen are suffering, water is polluted because of water hyacinth, transport is hindered. So we did research and identified that any biomass can produce fuel. And actually in Kenya, 80% of people now are using, charcoal. But now the government has banned the burning of charcoal, and we must just protect our environment. So we saw that these are menaces in the society, but still we can convert it to be of more use, okay? So we did research and then found out that we can do it. So we can make, we actually, the process is very simple. We just harvest the hyacinth from the lake, we dry them, we carbonize, then we bind. Very simple. Yeah.
All right. And Elizabeth, this is not the first time you are attending this particular competition. Last year, you managed to attend the competition. So how different is it? Or what are you anticipating in this year's competition compared to last year?
In last year's competition, it was our first time, by the way, to attend the World Cup. So we had a number of challenges, and we got to understand and to see the other projects that are being presented with other students worldwide. And our passion for the project improved, and we also got so much knowledge on how to improve our projects. So this year we aim at winning the competition.
Okay, good luck in that. Yeah. And also, Brian, yes, you've managed to interact with the students all over in that particular competition. What gap do you think we're missing in terms of even just moving forward in innovations?
Actually, what we're lacking is exposure first thing is exposure. The second thing you're lacking, we don't have enough support. Okay, somebody can come up with an idea, but it will just be buried because, it's so unfortunate that people can be willing to pay and contribute a lot of money for a funeral, but not to actualize your real idea that can impact the society, even can beef up your well-being in the society.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's basically having support.
Yeah,
and in actors, have you managed to get support, especially when in terms of visas? Because you have to fly out at the end of the day. You need funds for this particular competition. And at the end of the day, you are representing Kenya. You're going there as Kenyan students. So are you getting any kind of support and help?
Okay, that's a nice point. Actually, we're having a challenge, a serious challenge. We are students. Visa is expensive. Air ticket is much expensive. Accommodation and ground transport is much expensive in America. I can talk from the experience I was there last year. So we are just trying as students, contributing. The university is actually trying to support us, has been giving us vehicle, engaging the trainers. But now, we have a tune of 4.57 million to facilitate or to facilitate us to go and represent Kenya. So I think for now we are requesting any support, if we can get any support, especially from our dear father of the country, President Uhuru. If we can support us, even the Deputy President and Minister of Youth Affairs and Youth, if they can support us, because actually while there we are told, team from Kenya, can you come and flag? Team from Kenya, can you do your presentation? It's not Jaramogi University actually now. We're going to represent Kenya. So it's my plea to the government, especially the president. We have been trying even to reach in their offices, but now the protocol is too high. I'm requesting if the president can step in and support us, even if it's air ticket or rather any financial support, we'll really appreciate.
Okay, we hope your plea will be heard. And Elizabeth, in terms of projects, what projects have you embarked on and ensured that it's out in the market? What in terms of even businesses, what have you come up with and said that this is actually reaping returns for me?
And the major project that we have been more focused on is Panda Kenya and Higher Tech. Panda Kenya, it's one project in one. Yeah, like one project, two projects in one. Yeah, it has first phase, which is tree planting, increasing the forest cover, which was also a government initiative. And the second phase was the same as the one that we are doing on Higher Tech, which is making briquettes using water hyacinth. So in Panda Kenya, in tree planting phase, we introduced various plants that could be of high benefit to the community, moringa and bamboo. And we trained a number of community members who have been planting moringa and selling the products, and including bamboo. They are of high benefit, especially moringa.
All right. Brian, how sustainable are these particular projects you're talking about? Is it that you're just going to go for the competition, when it's done, it's done?
No. First of all, I'm just 1 year and leave the university. I'm doing this not for me, but for the society. For the case of sustainability, the water hyacinth itself, from the research we did, the seeds, it has got a seed dormancy of 30 years, you can imagine. And these seeds go down to the sun. So for you to eradicate water hyacinth, you must just silt the lake, which is almost impossible. But now we are not taking that as an advantage. Remember, let's talk about the water hyacinth itself. Like now it can be harvested and dumped along the beaches, and now it rots and brings a lot of difficulties. And okay, this is not just for the lake region. I can tell other people from other regions, like we can go from Mombasa, we have coconut husks. They can be used as a biomass. We can go to Budalangi, my original place. We have rice from Bunyala irrigation scheme. You can go to to Mumias, we have sugarcane, has all biomass can be used. So sustainability is catered for because of the dormancy of the water hyacinth, they spread very fast, and all other biomasses, even the maize cobs from wherever talk.
All right. Elizabeth, why do you think youth are not very attracted when it comes to even engaging in agribusiness? The way you guys are speaking is like agribusiness is the topic. It's the business that anybody should engage in.
I think the first thing is, I can say the current education system. You know, most people when they go to school, they just want to focus, read, study, and look for white-collar jobs. And that has been the main thing that everyone is aiming for. So most of them don't know things to do with entrepreneurship. They just see it as something that is hard, like digging, as in they see it as hard. They have not been impacted, they have not been exposed. So this has been a high disadvantage to the country. And I think we should change the norm so that the youth, they could learn to change the system. Like they should know that they should balance the academic work and the entrepreneurship sector, because it is of high benefit both economically and socially.
All right.
Yeah.
Brian,
yes.
You've interacted with so many people, so many students.
Yeah.
What ideas have you picked, and in terms of even in terms of exchanging ideas, where you sit right now, what ideas have you picked and what have you learned from them?
Actually, it's a challenge to the youths, I'll say there. It's time to hear but not listen to the saying that we are the leaders of tomorrow. When is tomorrow coming? It was said and it may be said. So it's high time we face the bull by the nostril and castrate it lively. You can be your own leader anywhere. So youth now they fear to start the simple businesses like just selling the biscuits. Like in Actors we do sell the biscuits, and in campus we do sell sweets. So youths fear, and the main cause of fear is failing. They fear to fail, but if you can't be ready to fail, then you can't reach. It's good every time you try and fail and fail and fail better. So it's my encouragement that we can start up, and it's my plea that these simple projects can be taken up. You have a lot of innovation that has been dumped because you don't have the support.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian and Elizabeth, for gracing our studios and giving us insights, especially when it comes to innovation. We wish them all the best in their 18th and it's 16th to 18th World Enactors competition, and we hope that you bring the trophy back to the country. And that is how we wrap up Inside Business, the last word in business. My name is Sarah Adam. Up next is Newscut.